Welcome into the second edition of the BLK Show. I'm your host, Blue Lion King 7 BLK. Thank you for patiently waiting. Sorry, I meant Central Time, but it's my show, so it starts, I guess, when I want it. Thank you for tuning in. Here we go. We're going to run down today's show. We're going to run down the first 2 weeks of the season. We have a special guest that we're going to bring in a minute. Surprise, surprise. Not going to let you know yet. Bring him in, and then we're going to go over the power rankings. Update it, see how bad I was on my first power rankings, or how good I was. We'll find out. Well, we're going to start off here with the standings real quick just to go over. We're going to have Power couple in first. That's Dom and Rev. They have 9 games played and 17 points. I gave them the nod at first because they only have 9 games played, whereas Corona, Pal's team, my team, has 17 points as well, but in 12 games played. Super Kick Party is in third with 16 points. Quarantine Nut Jobs, Shotgun, 14 points in 12 games, followed by the Philadelphia Pliers with 13 points in 12. That's Croydon. 2 Captains, 1 Cup has 12 points in 9. This is where a pack gets kind of jam-packed a bit. You can put this in any order you want. You have Money Puck with 12 points in 9 games. That's Cosmic and BTW. Godless Communism, Power Kill has 12 points in 9 games. Spinning and Winning, Regretsky's 12 and 9 as well. Then you go into the 10th place team, Gangs of New York, Nick the Greek. He has 12 points in 12 games. And then the Hollywood Blondes are in 11th with 11 points in 12 games. The Odd Smurfs have 9 points in 12 games. Cutthroat, Monster J, has 8 points in 12 games. 14th, Rain, Bartlett's team, 4 points in 9 games. And pulling up the rear, the Modern Tricksters, Tricky's team, 2 points in 12 games played. Not exactly the start they wanted. Just going over some games real quick now over the first 2 weeks. Power couple, this is in no particular order, by the way. Didn't do it in alphabetical order, didn't do it in position. Some teams may end up in the position they actually are, but there is no rhyme or reason here. Power couple, Dom and Rev. They've played 3 series so far. They had 1 series rescheduled for the last week of the season. Unfortunate that game got rescheduled as well. BTW and Cosmic would have been the matchup. That would have been a sight right there. That would have been definitely a game I would have tuned into as well. That got rescheduled. They opened up the season in week 1 against Tricky's team. Free wins all around. 3-0. They went 6-3, 5-4, 8-4 were the scores. That was Dom's series, by the way, not Rev's. They're part-time owners. They split playing defense. And Rev series, she played Croydon's team. 2-0-1 versus Croydon. They lost 2-1 in overtime, then went 6-2 and 8-0. So big bounce backs there. And then in week 2, the 1 series, this was Dom's series as well versus Odd. They went 3-0, 4-2, 5-2, and 4-2 respectfully. That next up I've written is Godless Communism. It's Power Kill's team. Another 3 series team only, 9 games played. They are currently sitting, by the way, in real life. We're here in 4th place. I have them 14 points in 12 games. They went 2-1 against Monster J. They lost the opening game 2-1, followed it up with a 5-3 and 5-4 win. That was BC Renton series, part-timer on Power Kill's team. And then went 3-0 against Bartlett, 4-0, 2-1, 8-2. That was Raw B's series. And week 2, their only series was against Shotgun's team. They went 1-2, 8-3 win, followed by a 3-1 and 6-3 loss. Unfortunately, this commentator did not do his homework on that series, so I don't know if that was Raw B or BC Renton series. Next up, Super Kick Party. D-Mart, currently sitting in 3rd overall, matching up with the 3rd team I'm doing here as well, oddly enough. Week 1, they played Pale. They got John and Frangu, not myself and Seji, by the way. They went 2-1 against that squad. 11-1 opener with Pale and net. The story goes, our goalie, maybe the first for a league, did not have the game downloaded. Didn't have it downloaded. I have known people that have, had updates, things of that nature, or if it's maybe the first night of the season or the game, in September, October, they might not have the game then, but we're in fucking April here, pal. And that's my goalie, but, I had to download a fucking game. Pal had to play net. 11-1 later, we're down 0-1 in the series. They lost again 3-1. My team, Pal's team, lost 3-1 to D-Mart, and then they pulled out the win with 4-3 win there. 4-3 win, sorry. That was Wizzy's series, by the way. In week one, they also went 1-1-1 against the BTW Cosmic team with Cosmic in the game. They lost 6-1, then won 5-4, and then had a 1-0 OT loss. That was Novocaine series for DMart as well. So with Cosmic in the game, that's not a bad result. Week two, they went 1-1-1 against Croydon and Wizzy series. They lost 3-2. They lost 1-0 in overtime, and they won 6-1. Interesting note with this series. Wizzy played defense the first two games, and Cortez was the center. And then I believe in game three, they switched Wizzy with Cortez from D to center. So Wizzy went up and played forward, and the floodgates opened, 6-1 win. So maybe that's something they're going to continue to roll with. We'll see. And then they finished it up against Odd Guy, 3-0, 2-1, 6-4, 5-2 wins in Novocaine series. Gangs of New York, Nick the Greek, team sitting in 10th place currently. They went 1-1-1 against Odd Guy in week one. They lost 3-2. They won 5-4 in overtime and lost 4-3 in overtime. Barrett was in games 2 and 3. Barrett 50 cal, their star center, if you want to call him that. Only made games 2 and 3. He works nights, doesn't always get there. Won time to make it. Then they played Tricky. Again, free points all around. 3-0, 6-1, 3-1, 6-2. Barrett made all three that night. Surprise, surprise, when you play Tricky's team. Everyone's valuable. Week two, they went 0-3 against my team, and I was in that game with Seji. I didn't think they looked bad. I thought they played pretty respectable. Barrett was in games 2 and 3 only. They lost 7-5, 7-4, and 4-2 to Pal's bunch. And then they finished up with Croydon, 1-1-1. They lost 6-2, lost 2-1 in overtime, and then won 4-3. Barrett in game 2 and 3. Barrett enters the series. They get a point in OT, win 4-3. Without Barrett, they lose 6-2. So something to be said about that. Fifth up here, I have Philadelphia Pliers, Croydon. They're currently in fifth place as well. So I guess it kind of matches up there. 1-1-1 against Pal week one. They got the hard line. They got me and Seji. They lost 5-2, 3-2 in overtime, and then won 4-3 in overtime. Tough team. A lot better than I expected in a way. Not better than I expected. I knew they'd be good, but they're even better than that. We'll talk about that more later. Then they played Dom and Rev's team. They got Rev, if you want to say that's the tougher series. And okay, go ahead. I believe that myself. They went 1-2 against the tougher lineup that they can throw out on Rev's team. They won 2-1 in overtime, then lost 6-2, and then lost 8-0. So that's a tough score there. But in week two, they rebounded with a 2-1 series win against D-Mart's bunch with Wizzy in 3-2, 1-0 OT win, and then a 6-1 loss. We talked about that game. Wizzy Cortez switched, and then went 2-1 against Nick the Greek, 6-2, 2-1 OT win, and then a 4-3 loss. Odd Guy. He is currently sitting in 12th overall in the standings. Here, he went 2-0-1 against Nick the Greek, opening the series in week one. 3-2, 5-4 OT loss, and a 4-3 OT win. That was younger series for them. It's their part-time player that's switching with Civ C Po. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Then they went 2-1 against BTW and Cosmic's team with BTW in the lineup. 3-2, 3-0, and then a 4-3 loss. That was Civ C Po's series. Week two, 0-3 against Dom's team. 0-3 against Dom's team. Dom was in the lineup. 4-2, 5-2, 4-2 losses. Younger no-showed or missed that series. I don't know the whole story. I heard a little bit about it, but not completely sure there. Wasn't in the games, though. Then they went 0-3 against D-Mart with Novocaine in the lineup, not Wizzy. 2-1, 6-4, 5-2. That was Civ C Po's series. Quarantine Nutjobs, Shotgun's team, currently sitting in fourth place. They went 2-1 to start the season against Bartlett. They lost the opening game 4-3, then won 7-1 and 3-1. Followed it up against Hollywood, went 2-1, 4-1, 5-2 loss, and a 5-4 win in overtime. Week two against New Regretskis, they went 1-2. They lost 5-2, they won 3-2, and then they lost 7-4. And then they finished up week two against Power Kill, going 2-1, losing the first game 8-3, following up with a 3-1 and 6-3 wins. I want to say this about this series. Look at the stats. Neki, the goalie for Power Kill, or I guess it was Shotgun's team, had 17 saves back-to-back, games 2 and 3. So although they won those games after losing 8-3, I looked at the stats for Power Kill's goalie. gave up as many goals as he had saves in both games, or he only had one extra save than goals again. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. It was like 7 saves, 6 goals. So had one goalie standing on his head and one goalie that seemed to be letting in everything. That may have been an indicator of why that series went that way, but still 2-1, not a bad record there. Corona, my team, Pal's team, we went 1-2 against D-Mart. That was with Wizzy in the series for D-Mart. John and Frank Grew in the series, as we talked about. 11-1, 3-1 losses, followed by a 4-3 win. We then played Croydon with us in the lineup, me and Seji, 2-0-1, 5-2, 3-2 OT win, 4-3 OT loss. Nick the Greek, we played in week 2, 3-0 we went, 7-5, 7-4, 4-2, me and Seji. And then the tricky series. And we went 2-1. And you would normally say, hey, you got your second line, if you want to call it that. Playing Tricky's team, though. That's any loss. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. I don't fucking want to be rude here. I'm trying not to. But if you lose a game against a team that probably aren't going to win another game, that's a bad loss. And, well, we lost. Or should I say John and Frank Grew in that series lost. My team lost anyway, so it feels bad. 2-1 series win against Tricky. 5-3 in the first. Then lost 6-1. 6-1. I don't know what happened there. Followed it up with a 5-1 win, though, to bounce back, but a bit concerning, I have to say, for my own team. The shit show, or the Hollywood Blondes, whatever you want to call them, Hollywood's team, week 1, 2-1, no Regretskis. They lost 5-1, then won 6-4, 4-3. Then went 1-1 against Shotgun. They lost 4-1, won 5-2, and then lost 5-4 in overtime. They went 1-2 against Monster J. They lost 3-2, won 5-2, and then lost 4-3. And then they played SPDR and Anderson, and they went 1-2 as well with SPDR in the lineup. 4-3, 5-1 win, and then a 4-2 loss. So, and the 4-3 game obviously was a loss as well. Money Puck, BTW, and Cosmic opened the season against D-Mart with Novocaine in the lineup. As we know, they went 2-1. I won't run over the scores anymore because we're getting to that point. Odd Guy, they went 1-2. That was BTW and Pens fan. Week 2, 3-0 against Tricky, 9-1, 6-1, 9-3. That was BTW and Crispy in the series. The week prior, they had Cosmic and Crispy combined. This week, they put BTW with Crispy, so interesting there. And then they had the reschedule, of course, with Dom and Rev. 2 captains, 1 cup, SBDR and Anderson. They are currently sitting in what looks to be about 6th place. 2-1 against Monstar J, 2-1, 9-3. And then lost 3-2. That was SPDR's series. Anderson played his season opener in week 2, went 2-1 against Bartlett, 2-1, 4-1, and then lost 5-2. And finished up the week against Hollywood, 2-1 series. That was SPDR. They lost the first game 4-3, but followed it up with wins 5-1 and 4-2. And then we get the Cutthroat. Cutthroat started the season, Monstar J. They are currently, by the way, sitting in 13th. Started the season against Power Kill, where they went 1-2. 2-1 win to open the season, followed by a 5-3 and then 5-4 loss. They then went 1-2 against the SPDR-led SPDR Anderson team. They lost 2-1, lost 9-3, and then won 3-2. And then the trade happened. And the trade happened where they brought in a familiar face to Monstar J. A guy that he knows very well. A guy that I think was a part of his draft plan from all intentions, having talked to him. A man that is actually also our special guest today. So without further ado, if he doesn't mind coming off mute here, Young Kelch, welcome to the BLK Show, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm doing lovely. I am absolutely loving to be here. I love listening to your sweet voice just serenade my headset right now. Appreciate you having me on. Obviously appreciate you doing a media show. Glad you showed up for one. Just chilling. How are you?
Good. I showed up, but as always, I'm late. But, it's a pleasure. That's the positive side of having your own show. You kind of get to do what you want. No one can really complain. 'Cause at the end of the day, you go, it's my show. Deal with it. Your team with UN went 2-1 against Hollywood, 3-2 with a 5-2 loss, smashed in between a 4-3 win. And then you lost to Regretsky's team. I don't have the scores. You had told me earlier, and you can tell the audience as well, but I do know that Regretsky's in the first game put up 4 goals, in the second game put up 5, and in the third put up 9. Did you want to go over any of those games there against Hollywood or Regretsky's where things didn't go the way maybe they should have against Regretsky's, but seemed to go pretty good against Hollywood?
Sure. So Hollywood series, I got traded literally the day before, or like basically 24 hours or so before the series. Um, we played. That was the series of the week. Obviously, shout out Farzy for a great call, Cortez as well. But for the most part, we were just kind of getting a feel for each other. I had never played with my left wing, my center, ever. So I obviously played with Jay last season as my right wing on our cup winning team. And then me and Dunner on the back end. I've known Dunner for a long time. Cool ass dude, love the guy. So just kind of feeling things out. We took two in that series. Obviously, the one we don't know scores and things about. Came to the one for us versus Regretsky's team. Obviously, if anyone's paid attention to chat today, it's been AIDS. I hate it. But it's what this series, kind of led to. So for the most part, I'll sum it up real quick. We sucked. The whole forward line, obviously definitely had shit ping. It happens. I'll be the first one to tell you. I play on shit ping every fucking game I play in my life. So I personally don't think ping, is too much of an issue for anyone to really complain about. I can suck it up, get over it, and deal with what you got. But I know other people are used to low pings. You build a West Coast team, you're going to have issues when you don't get your West Coast host. So it is what it is. The series scores, I think, were it was 4-2, 5-2 or 5-3, and then it was 9-3, right? So we played like ass.
Okay.
We took I think game one, we took 8 penalty minutes. Not 8 penalty minutes, 8 penalties. There was at one point where we had 4 guys in the box at once. It was literally a fucking mess. Every ounce of the game, the series, there was nothing fun about it. It was just trying to salvage potentially a point in any game. But yeah, it was bad. So there's no way around it. None of us played good. Whether that be, what I've already talked about with some forwards not being able to manage it. In regards to pings, I'm obviously going to have to get used to that. No, it wasn't a good team defense as a whole. Whether it be myself, me and Dunner on the back end trying to lock it down for Sniper. Sniper didn't have. I think there was one game Sniper had a 20% save percentage or something like that. I mean, just as well as I do, you're not winning a game like that. You know what I mean? You're just not.
Yeah.
Definitely things to work about. I mean, obviously we've been a team for, as a unit now for a few days. So it's just gonna take familiarity. Obviously, no things. Rome wasn't built in a day, so you're gonna have to work on it. But for the most part, it was definitely a shit show. I think Regretsky said it in chat just 20 minutes ago. It's less than ideal that the series was as it was, but you play with what you got. It's my take.
Yeah. You live by the sword, you die by the sword sometimes when you try to West Coast everyone, Jay. This is the lesson to learn. Sometimes being a snake in the grass, you get your head cut off by the lawnmower. Sorry, Couch. Number 13,
we hit the lawnmower, the weed eater, bro. I don't even know, we had someone out there with scissors cutting us off, bro. It was a blast. Anyway, continue.
Number 13 was spinning. We will get back to the chat, by the way. Don't think we forgot that shit. We definitely are going to talk about that. What a fun read. Number 13, spinning and winning. No regrets. They went 1-2 versus Hollywood. 5-1 win, 6-4 loss, and a 4-3 loss. Interesting series there, by the way. I really was Regretsky's was number 1 in my power ranking, number 1 in Pal's power ranking. Said a lot of people I talked to that didn't do a power ranking were still putting them at number 1. We discussed it. Surprising start to the year against Hollywood. Good for them, by the way, and Hollywood's team winning that. Week 2, though, they only had one series of week 1. Week 2, they started off against Shotgun, 2-1, 5-2, then a 3-2 loss, 7-4 win, and then as we spoke about, 3-0 against Jay. I'm guessing 4-2, 5-3, 9-3 is what we're assuming. We just know the 4, 5, and 9 are correct. Jay, do the goddamn stats, man. Number 14, the Rain, Bartlett's team. Week 1, they went 1-2 against Shotgun, 4-3 win, then lost 7-1, and then 3-1 loss. 0-3 against Power Kill, 4-0, 2-1, 8-2 losses, and then 1-2 against Anderson's team with Anderson in the lineup. They lost 2-1, 4-1, and then pulled off the 5-2 win. And then finally, the rear of the list and in the standings as well, the number 15 team, Modern Tricksters, Tricky, 0-3 against Dom and Rev's team with Dom in the lineup, 6-3, 5-4, 8-4. Nick the Greek, 0-3, 6-1, 3-1, 6-2. BTW Cosmic, BTW in the lineup, 0-3 again, 9-1, 6-1, 9-3. And then with Pale, with John and Frango in the lineup, their lone win of the season, tying the league record for the lowest wins. They only need one more. And the record will remain safe. 1-2 against Pale, 5-3 loss, 6-1 win, and a 5-1 loss. So that's a look at the first 2 weeks. Now that you heard all the scores and the matchups and everything, anything that jumped out that surprised you over the first 2 weeks, Kelch?
Tricky won a game. I know you said I know you said it earlier that you don't want to be mean, and I get it, but I mean, he's out here trying to, break his own record Tricky has it already, of the 1-win season. I don't know. Outside of that, obviously the team I'm now on, the fact that there hasn't been much of the West Coast connection benefiting that team. Obviously that was a big talk going into the draft. So that's kind of interesting. The biggest, for me personally, just looking at all the teams, Dom and Kayla's team. Absolutely love the setup of a lot of the people on that team. I root for them. Obviously, Swizzy is my guy. I love the fact that over NHL 20, he has found out how to pass. His right trigger button works. It's literally attached to his controller now. Every other play is not a failed rap attempt. So you put him and Jelly, they have this game style where when I saw him get drafted there, and I knew Jelly was already on that team, that I just felt like those two guys together, they have the same kind of mindset. Their game styles really mesh well. I thought it would be perfect for them, playing together, and nothing I've seen in 2 weeks has proven me to be anywhere near wrong. That and my question mark for their team was, how good can they play in net? That was my question mark for them, and they got Hashik back there now, and apparently he's doing well. Their team is thriving. So that would be, at the moment, my team. And, we all love C-Dub. I mean, C-Dub. Jesus Christ, I fucked up. I do love C-Dub too. So, there is that. That just goes without saying. But C-Dub and then whichever, lefty they have, whether it's Dom or Kayla, they're gonna be locked down on the back end. So that would be, my point.
I appreciate them doing well on my first show. If everyone or anyone that listened knows that I had hyped them a lot. I said I loved their team. Some people gave me shit about that after the show, saying, "Oh, you're overhyping." And I said maybe I was, but I really like the way that team's built. I like the way the team's built for many different ways. Same thing you said. They have a lot of talent on the team, but it's also the people. Attitude means a lot in this game. You can have a lot of talent, but if everyone's in the party hating on each other, it doesn't work. I've been down that road, trust me, in other leagues and in esports. It does not work. It doesn't. The attitudes dictate everything. And that team has a lot of good attitudes. There's a lot of good people on that team that get along, and I really do like that team. One final thought, finishing up with the first week of the season. The team of the week came out. Now let's give a shout out to Hollywood, by the way. He's doing the player cards and the player of the week things, and you can disagree with the ratings or the stats or any of it. You can disagree with that, everything. The fact is that someone's making an effort, doing a cool thing, and he did player of the week with some input from others around the league as well. And the team of the week for week 1, just give a shout out to these guys at left wing, was Swizzy. We just talked about Swizzy with the power couple. 1 goal or 11 goals, 9 assists for 20 points week 1. At center was Barrett 50 Cal. Talked about him earlier about what a difference the team made. You could see it in the games with the scores I read off. What a difference it made when he comes into the lineup. He finished week 1 with 8 goals, 9 assists for 17 points. Right wing was Jelly. Goes without saying, Jelly. Now, this is a guy a few years ago people were joking about. People laughed at, he's not that good, he's overrated, blah, blah, blah. There was people that would talk shit. Not many people are talking shit anymore. I think he shut a lot of mouths and said, yeah, you want to keep talking shit, hit the brakes and
I'll just keep scoring.
Kids, Kid's amazing, just absolutely amazing. So, Jelly, week one, had 16 goals, 11 assists for 27 points, by far the leader in the league. Lefty was Annex Crispy, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. Sea-Doo, 77, 1 goal, 10 assists, 11 points. And Yin, 75, 2 wins and an 846 save percentage and a 1.41 goals against. That's your team of the week for week one of the season. Look forward to seeing week two. With the player cards and stuff, I did talk to Hollywood, by the way, earlier today. Asked him if he wanted to share anything with the community in regards to the player cards. He said that everyone can get a card, but we need photos. If everyone could please provide him with a photo of their player, in-game photo snapshot, menu photo snapshot, just any kind of photo of your player's face. We don't need their ass, don't need, their legs, none of that. Just their face, upper body. That's perfect. Just put it on the card. We can do, he said, updated ratings at the end of the season or a playoff edition. If we get enough images in and there's enough interest, he wants to continue that. And he also wants everyone to leave comments and feedback under the card. I don't know what it's called. I'll actually look it up right now for you so I don't sound like an asshole and you know where to go. But under, I believe it is media images, possibly. Yeah, the media image file where he posts. If you go on there and you want to leave a comment or suggestion, he's all ears. Anything he says to help the performance of the cards get better so everyone likes them. Thoughts, critiques, yada, yada. Don't go in there and troll. Don't be a dick. He's doing this for enjoyment and everyone's entertainment. It's one or two or however many people are helping him with this opinion. No one else's. It's not fucking the word of God. It's not gospel. Don't get butthurt. Don't get over ego if you got a fucking good rating either. It's just a number. But he is looking for help and ideas, so definitely go out there and shoot those his way. Now, before we get into the power rankings, I want to update my power rankings. Now, week one, I did my power ranking, or before week one, after the draft, before any trades or anything, I did my power rankings, and we'll go over how wrong I was about that. I just want to say we have to talk about chat. We have to talk about chat. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention chat. I think I have to. It's just too good. It was just too good to not bring up at least. Just laugh at it. Now, these are things that this makes the league fun. But you have to, there has to be a
see the fucking line? Know where it's at?
And reality.
Don't cross it? Or just
and reality.
Fucking stop?
And reality. If you want to chirp and you want to argue, you want to say something, by all means, go for it. Get as brutal
you make your chirps
as you
at
want.
least good? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I looked in this chat and I saw nothing besides fucking third grade fucking chirps. It was just bum response after bum response after bum response. It was cringeworthy just reading it at times. I was trying to play COD, not gonna lie to you. And I was getting annoyed. I'd look down and it'd be like, you have 103 messages. And it's go fuck myself. And I hated it. And then I'd look at it and I was like, I just wasted my life reading it. It wasn't even good.
It was... This is my thing. Or part of the reason why it wasn't good is because there was things that were not even. I don't even care about the line. Me personally, again, I grew up in an era of sticks and stones. I don't give a fuck what you said to me. Whatever, you touch me, then we could talk. But none of this bullshit about words. Nothing you can say to me is really gonna make me who cares your opinion. But when you say shit that just isn't correct, when one of your big chirps is, you're throwing out CHL stats. When he plays for an AHL team and then trying to keep yelling, oh, it's a CHL. It's a fucking AHL team. It's an AHL. He played in the AHL. And he actually spent a week in the NHL. And he's been in the NHL, LHL, or LG NHL before. Not that it fucking matters, but at least get it correct. There's a lot of things you can go at Jay. I can give you a laundry list. You can fucking message me.
Yep.
Crazy son of a bitch. Love the guy. But there's a lot of real chirps if you really want to get to brass tacks you could use. Don't make shit up and just continue with the troll. That's I don't know if the community knows, that's JJR shit. That's just trolling the troll. That's where it gets boring, repetitive, and really killed the battery on my fucking phone. That's the only reason why I really care. If I have to get down to it, I'm just selfish. I'm just a selfish bastard. The fucking alerts killed my goddamn battery. I didn't have it charging, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm down to 1%. But I've got 800 fucking alerts. I don't know. So... that's all I want to say about that. But it was fun. I like it. I like the rivalries. Let's keep it a little more real, though. Let's make it real. Like, let's make it fucking real. I love the fact that a team got blown out, but still had the balls to put a highlight out there to be like, but you know what? We got blown out, but you still got fucking walked. You got highlight reeled. Welcome to being posterized. That shit happens to defensemen. Trust me. I've been walked plenty of times. Thank God it wasn't filmed that I know of. It happens. Shit probably hurt, but
Shit, I've
them's
been
the
walked more
fucking
times than I
breaks.
can count.
Them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. You won the series. You got walked. These two things are facts. You can't get over it. So, anyway, on we go. Finally, the segment. I'm making great time, by the way. 30
Hold
minutes.
on, hold
I
on.
don't know
I
if I'm
have
going
to
to be
make
able to
this.
make a
I have
fucking
to make
hour.
this comment though. I have to make this comment.
Oh, by all means,
Okay,
let's do it.
so you mentioned about posting highlights. Look, to everyone listening, everyone going to be listening, or everyone that's just going to be heard about what's being said now, listen to these simple words. The highlights channel is for anyone and everyone to post highlight clips from inside your series. Whether you are down 15, whether you are blowing out a team by 30, I do not care. If you make a highlight play, post it. One, it helps with all the different types of aspects that media is trying to do, right? As you mentioned, me and Hollywood are working on each and every week to do players of the week, right? For each team, he is working for top 10 plays, right? We want to make sure this content is continuously coming. It makes everything easier for us to go through and continue to do that. I don't care if in this situation, obviously, yes, it was my team that was involved in the video that started this whole fucking AZ chat conversation. Yes, we got absolutely shit stomped, right? We did. But there was absolutely a play where Legion, got shit on himself. And that was the post. Guess what? They could very well go ahead and find 5 different clips to that one that we posted where they're going to be able to put in there too. By all means, do it. If you make a great play, put it in there. That's what it's intended for. Same thing as you mentioned earlier about player cards and the images. Make sure, like I said, comment, give concerns. Literally, feedback is a good thing. That's my take. All right, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you. Just because you're losing a game, if you have a great goal, it's still a great fucking goal. You know what? At the end of the year, if we put a 10 best goals of the year, if your goal was the best goal and it just so happened to come in a game you were losing, it's still going to be a top 10 goal and no one's going to care about the fucking score. They're going to care about how great of a goal it was. So I'm right on with that, Kelch, and I think you're dead on with it. I do agree, everyone. And as well, Kelch, if you want to share the message as well, stats, everyone. Fucking stats. Get them in. That helps as well with
yes.
media. It's hard to do this. Go ahead.
Just ask BLK. I was gonna say, just ask BLK when he's trying to come up with the standings, come up with his own power rankings, right? Looking at the stats is so important. Me personally, I've been a captain. I know people that have been captains. They'll all say it. Doing your stats takes probably no more than 10, 15 minutes at the most if you're slow to do them for any one series. Knock them out as quick as you can. There really shouldn't be more than a 2-day time period that you play on a Monday. Your stats should be done by Wednesday, like at the very latest, I would imagine. That's my personal take on it. But do it. Help us so it's better for everyone involved. Also, shout out to Cortez, or Obey Cortez now. Good job, buddy. But no, for real. He mentioned something in the stream chat, so I just saw it. I just want to mention that. Yes, please stop writing and having full combos in the highlights channel. That is strictly just for posting the streams, or not the streams, but to just post the actual clips of the highlights. That way, when Hollywood tries to get everything set up, Hollywood's spending a good amount of time on this. Anyone going back and assisting him is spending time on this, right? Make it easier for them to not have to do additional work that's going to cause them longer in their day because you wanted to have a 20-minute conversation about, oh, I ate Whataburger this day and it was better than the sub I had fucking last week on Thursday. Like, nobody gives a shit. Post your clips there and nothing else. Like, make it easy. We have 973 different channels on Discord. You can make sure you're posting an appropriate one.
Absolutely. Definitely does clutter it, too. Definitely does clutter it. And then if the moderators have to clean that out, having done that before, it's not a simple process. You have to go message by message, so definitely try to keep that cleaned up. But enough with the lectures. Enough with the lectures. We've yelled at enough people here. We're probably killing people. They're like, all right, we get it. All right, mom and dad, we fucking get it. We'll do the stats. But
I get to be mom.
Well, sure, I don't care.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go into the power rankings here, but before I do this, I did a little something, I guess, special. Not really. And this is kind of opinion based. It's a little factual based. You can look at it yourself. But so there is some, like, isn't just me pulling this out my ass. I did a strength of schedule, and I didn't do it for the whole fucking league because, to be honest, I was free-handing fucking standings 18 times. The stats were coming in slow, and my math skills were letting me fucking down. So I was changing from standing to standing. It was a pain in the dick. I need to start typing or some shit. Writing is just so old school and it sucks. My hand has a cramp. But anyway, I did 4. I did the 4 strongest and the 4 weakest. So that's 8 of the 15. I don't think that's too bad. We're going to start with the strongest, though. I think that's where we'll go. Or we'll just go bounce back and forth between strongest and weakest. But the 4th strongest for me was the Odd Smurfs. Now, they're sitting currently, I believe, in 12th place, if I have it. Yes, they're in 12th place. It goes to figure, though. They played the team in 1st place, the team in 3rd place, the team in 7th place, and the team in 10th place. Now, the 7th place team happens to be Cosmic and BTW's team as well. So when you look at that, they've played Dom and Rev, they've played D-Mart, and they've played Cosmic and BTW. Can't really say that they've called a break early. That's a tough start for their season. That might be a reason why they're sitting here with 12 games played and only 9 points. They did get to play Nick's team, Gangs of New York. They went 1-1-1 against them as well, so they kind of held up their end of the bargain there. But hopefully things will get a little bit easier after getting swept back-to-back this week, 0-3-0-3, to D-Mart and Dom's team, which are 2 of the tougher teams in the league. The 4th weakest, I guess we will go that way, 4th weakest, and this is scary, and I don't mean to be not trying to worry you anymore, Couch, but it's your team, Jay's team. A team that's currently sitting in 13th. I have as the 4th weakest schedule, so it's only going to be uphill from here and not exactly starting hot. You have played the 8th place, the 9th place, the 11th place, and the 4th place. So only one top 5 team. And only one team in the top half of the league. That's
I've played 2 of those.
To only get. I understand that. That was the 11th and 9th place team you played. Now, I know the 9th place, it's like, well, that's Regretsky's team, so that's not your typical 9th place team. That's
Bro,
not
if
your
they play,
typical 9th
if
place
they
team.
play like that, anything like that, the rest of the season, you're not going to be anywhere close to 9th place.
and that is, I want to say, and that is why I would say take this with a grain of salt, because this is based off of two weeks. This is off 2 weeks and completely off the numbers of where they currently sit in the standings. This isn't factoring in that a team may have had a bad first game and they only have 2 or 3 games or 4 games, or a team only has 3 series played instead of 4. There's a lot of variables here, a lot of fucking variables, and I understand that. And I will say that with the standings, we've been in 9 my 4th weakest schedule. Hopefully, though, maybe Jay's team will play up the competition. They did make the trade with Kelch. They won the series, when they played the 11th seeded team, Hollywood. So hopefully things keep going up for them. And the Regretsky series was just a small anomaly. 3rd strongest, I have Modern Tricksters. Now, here's the thing with Modern Tricksters. They're a bad team. I'm not going to give them the excuse of, they had tough teams. They're bad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The trades they've made have made them worse. They've consistently gotten worse. If that's possible, it fucking happened. Like, impossible takes a day, I guess, with him, because it happened. They've gotten worse, in my opinion. But they did play the 1st and 2nd ranked team. They played Dom and Rev, and they did play Pale, the 2 top teams. With Pale's team, they got a bit of a break. They did not play Seji. They didn't have me in the lineup, for whatever that's worth. They won a game. That was their one win, though. So I guess they took advantage of the weaker lineup. They played the 10th seeded team, which would be Gangs of New York, Nick the Greek, and they played Money Puck, Cosmic, and BTW. So again, good teams that are probably underperforming because they don't have the games played or because they started off weaker than they probably should have. So their standings have dropped a bit. BTW and Cosmic's team is definitely not to be considered a light or easy 7th place team, but just by the current standings, they've played 2 top 5 teams that just so happen to be the 1st and 2nd place teams. So far at this point in time, they have the 3rd hardest schedule, in my opinion. 3rd weakest schedule. Now, this is interesting here. first place. And this is the other thing I think that could be a bit of a trend. This is kind of makes sense though at this point as well, as you're going to see the teams that are at the top are going to have the tougher schedules. Teams at the bottom have the weaker schedules. That's how it should be. It doesn't actually happen that way across the board, but there's a little bit of that going on here. Power couple, of course, if you're in first and you're winning every goddamn game, well, then you're beating teams, so they're probably going to fall further down the standings. So your schedule's going to look weaker just because you just bashed their head in. They played the 15th seeded team in Tricksters. They played the 12th seeded team in Odd Smurfs. And they played the 6th seeded team, which is actually the 5th seeded because of this Croydon Knights team. Out of that, honestly, the only team on that list that's really, to me, a good team is Croydon. And I don't know if they're like the best team in the league. They're just a very good team that probably is going to fit somewhere, in my opinion, in that 4 through 6 range, maybe to the upper part of that. And they can make some noise in the playoffs for sure because they've got great players and they are a great team, but a relatively light schedule. If you have Tricky on the schedule, no offense to Odd Guy, but Odd Guy's team, even though he had a hard schedule to start out, again, 4th hardest in my opinion, you know, there you have it. Like Odd Guy's team, Tricky, it's pretty light in my opinion. Pretty easy going. So it's probably not a shock that they have that many points in my opinion. But certainly a stacked team. Still, in my opinion, a very stacked team. The second strongest, the Reign. Bartlett, again, we're going to the bottom of the pile. Told you there would be some of this. The Reign, Bartlett. He played the 5th place team, which is actually the 4th place team because the way this is all fucked up. But anyway, he played 5th and he played 6th. He played Quarantine Nut Jobs, or the 4th, I'm sorry. He played Quarantine Nut Jobs, and he played 2 Captains, 1 Cup. And he also got Godless Communism, Power Kill, the 8th place team. Again, only 3 series, but you're getting a Shotguns team that is playing what I think is a bit over their head, but still, they've started off really, really well. They've done really well for themselves. We'll get to their schedule in a second. You'll hear them mentioned in a moment. Actually,
Man,
quite briefly
I played
here.
in all 3 of those series.
That's pretty good. But so you know, it was good teams. Like that's the point. You Reign, for even though I don't think they have a strong roster, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. I think they're going to finish towards the bottom anyway. They haven't had any benefits. Too. I think they have as well, without saying, but haven't gotten any benefits of the doubt here to start the year. They had some tough matchups. Hopefully things get a little bit better when they start getting into the bottom half of the league, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th place teams. Then maybe, you know, things can change for them. Had a bit of a rough start. Second weakest. And I said I'd mention them in a second. And here they are. We have the Quarantine Nut Jobs. I'm sorry, looked at the wrong team. Quarantine Nut Jobs, Shotgun. They've played the Reign, 14th place. They played Hollywood, 11th place. They've played No Regretskis in 9th. And they've played Power Kill in 8th. Regretskis, solid team. I think better than their standings. I think Power Kill's team in 8th is right around where he belongs, personally. I think that's right around where he's going to finish. That 7, 8, 9 roll, right? That's their spot. And then the rest of the teams, you got, you have the Reign. And you have Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood's team's probably maybe underperforming a bit, but they're going to be fighting for that last playoff spot, in my opinion. I don't see them as an upper team. I see them in that back end. And then the other teams they play, I see them in the back end. They've had a very light schedule. And I think that this is why you see them currently sitting in 4th. See them with 14 points in 12 games played. They haven't played a team better than the standings in 8th. I think they've played one good team, personally. I think they played Regretski's team. I think that was the good team they played. And I actually think they did well against them. I think they went 2-1. They did. They went 2-1 against them. So they performed against them. At the same time, I still think a weaker schedule. And I don't think Regretski's team has found its complete form. I think they did against Jay's team. I think from looking at those results, they finally found whatever they were hunting for. It finally clicked. And I think you're going to see good things from Regretski's at that point. But I think that anyone that got Regretski's team in that first week or those first 2 series, I think they got a little bit of reprieve. I think they got lucky. I may be wrong about that, but that's just how I feel. So now we go on to the strongest schedule. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer. I don't think this is hard to say at all. Croydon Knights team, Philadelphia Flyers, sitting in fifth, mind you. Fifth. They played the 1, 2, and 3 teams, and they played 10. So, for argument's sake, they played Power Couple, they played Pale, Corona, they played D-Mart, Super Kick Party, and then they played Gangs of New York, Nick the Great. I think it's a solid team. Nick's team is going to be another team fighting for, I think, that 7th, 8th spot. I think that he's right in that wheelhouse with that type of team that he has. This team played all these teams. They've played the cream of the crop outside of maybe 1 or 2 teams, and they're in 5th. This is a team that could really go on a roll late in the year if their schedule sets up where they get the Rain and Tricky and even Jay or Odd Guy and those type of teams down the stretch. It's going to get, I think, a lot brighter for Croydon's team, and they're already in 5th. I can see this team really making noise, finding a way to be that team that sneaks past everyone late. And even if they don't win the cup at the end of the day, could be a 1st or 2nd seed just based on how well they've held up against such good teams at the beginning of the year. That as long as they perform to their expectations at the end of the year against the worst teams, we're going to have something cooking. And then finally, to finish this out, the easiest schedule, in my opinion, on the year. 2 captains, 1 cup so far. SBDR, my boy Anderson. They have 12 points in 9 games. They've held up their end of the bargain. They went 2-1 against every team they played. You you probably want to go 3-0. Probably want to go 3-0 against some of these teams, but at the same time, if you win every series 2-1, you're a guaranteed playoff team. Guaranteed. They played 13, 14, and 11. That's Hollywood, that's Jay, and that's Bartlett. I don't see a murderer's row there. And they could only manage 2-1. That's the other worrisome. That's a worry to me that you can only manage 2-1 against those teams, against bottom-dwelling teams that I don't even think will also climb themselves out of the basement unless they make a little bit of drastic moves. Now, Jay made a move, but I think Ping is going to be responsible for Jay's future. He has a whole forward core playing on possibly 120 ping on some nights. Call him a baby. Say he's bitching and moaning. Call him a complainer. At the same time, this is a true, accurate statement. He's playing on 120 ping. That's facts. It's fucking facts.
Put D-Mart on 120 ping and listen to that boy, bitch. I've seen it. It's fucking hilarious.
I mean, this is true. Like
anyone
East
with a
Coaster
rolling ping under fucking 30 or less regularly, you pop up a high ping, they're gonna hate their lives. I get it.
And
it's unplayable.
That's the point. You have not 1 but 3 of those guys, and then happens to be the forward core. So it's not that I hate Jay's team. I think Jay's team is going to be a product of their connection. If they can get a connection where they're around 90 or below, I think Jay's team will make noise. They'll win games. They'll be a solid team. Do I think they're a top team? Probably not. But they definitely could be a playoff team. But if they continue to get 90 and higher, I think you're going to see similar results. I think it's going to be a similar type result season for Jay, where there's a lot of potential, but the connection's going to get them. And there's going to be penalties and things of that nature that pile up because of the connection, and it could be a tough year for them. But
I'll tell you right now,
that's the teams
playing
they play.
in the 2 series, I mean, if we do not clean up the penalty minutes, we won't go anywhere. If we're spending nine weeks in the box of series, we're toast.
That's any team, and it probably even hurts even more if you have a guy on the box and 2 of your penalty killers are again on 120 ping. It's basically a 5-on-2. In reality, that's tough. That's really tough for them. So hopefully they pull that out. But that's my power rankings. That's who I think has the weakest schedule. I think Anderson and SBDR have been very lucky. They are currently sitting in 6th place with that easy schedule because they could only manage 2-1. We'll see. I know a lot of the guys on that team as well, Anderson especially, so he'll tell you. Kind of plays up or down to his opponent. When he plays people that he feels he is severely better than, he can kind of kind of gets this lackadaisical, drifts around, doesn't try as hard, doesn't want to score, wants to be the one that makes this pretty extra pass, yada, yada, yada. I think when they play better competition, you'll see a better team out of them. So I don't think that's too scary, but still something to keep an eye on there. So that's my strength of schedule. And now on to the power rankings to close this up. We're about 50 minutes in, so I'm right on schedule at this point, thank God. So my first week's power rankings, for all of you that heard, I'm going to tell you basically where they stayed. I'm not going to go over the first weeks. I'm just going to go from 15 to 1, tell you if they've gone up, gone down. I'm going to tell you a reason why, if I need to, why I put them there. But number 15 on the power rankings starting last, no surprise. Modern Trickster's tricky. That's where I had them preseason. They were 15. Nothing's changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. I know they won a game. I know it was against my team. Good for them. I don't see them winning many more. They probably got a chance against a couple teams of pulling out a win. They might even win a series against one or two other teams, depending on certain things, such as the connection. Other than that, I don't see this team doing much. I just don't. I don't need to shit on these guys. I'll just say to my own owner, sodomize me with a rusty fishing knife before you trade me to this fucking team. Thank you, and that is all. They stay at 15. Number 14, Cutthroat. Monster J. They're down 3. They're down 3 from my initial power rankings. The reason why, this was an asterisk team, by the way. I put an asterisk by this team. I had said they could go up or could go down based on the connection. It all depended. And so far, what I've seen, it's failed. His strategy of west coasting people, putting himself on 20, 30 ping or even lower, and putting everyone else on 80 or above or 90 or above, failed. It backfired. Instead, now he has a forward core that is playing on 90 to 120 ping every goddamn series, frustrating him. Jay's a great guy, can get rattled very easily, though, as you can see by the chat box today. As the ping continues to affect him, as his friends continue to be affected by the ping, penalties will pile up. I just see, again, I would say asterisks. This team could go up. This team, things could change. It all depends on the connection. But currently, I have them at 14th, down 3 from initial. Number 13 is the Rain, Bartlett, staying right where I put them. I had them 13 before. Bartlett's team's interesting. I don't really see good things ahead for this team. They've had a tough schedule, as I said, second toughest in my opinion. Some of that is the fact that they're getting blown out. You lose 3-0 series, you're going to drop them. That team's going to go up. It's going to look like that team's good. We'll see, though, as the season goes on, if the strength of schedule actually matches up and we see the teams where they are now, or if that's where they end up. And maybe they did just have a tough start. But honestly, I think I nailed it at 13 with them beginning of the season.
Who plays
I think I
defense
nailed
for
it
that
with them
team?
again. That's I don't know. That should tell you.
You had two defensemen on that team. I was one of them. They traded me away for a part-time forward.
There you go. So I don't know who does play defense for him now.
I don't know.
Do you happen to know? No.
Johnny Blaze
Yeah.
potentially is the other guy, unless Bartlett moves himself back to D. His two wings are both forward only because they're rookies. I mean, they're in a weird spot. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
they
think
still have Hope Cholo. I mean, he's a great
dude's a
goalie.
baller. Dude is a fucking baller
If he
in
could
net.
stand on his head, he can definitely win him a game or two. I mean,
You don't have to.
So I said, there's a chance. There's a chance, but I just don't see it. Like, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm not trying to shit on anyone because, one, I could be wrong, so I don't want to look like a complete goof, and two, there's no need. I said they would be 13th preseason. They're 13th still. They're showing me no reason to believe they should be any higher. I hope they prove me wrong. Number 12, I have the Hollywood Blondes, down 2 from where I had them in the preseason at number 10. In the standings, I believe they're actually 11th, but I have them at 12. I have Odd Guy ahead of them based on the strength of schedule. I think Odd has played tougher teams. I think they played a tougher schedule. I think that's why they have 2 less points. I think those 2 teams played. I don't know if they have or not, even though I went over the scores. That's how quickly my memory goes. Just looking here, they have not played. I would probably pick Odd Guy's team. At this point, things could change. It's a close matchup. These are those teams where nothing's really changed since preseason. I still think there's a lot of teams like kind of mashed together. They're tearing out in my mind a little bit more. There might be more than like a couple tiers. I thought like, okay, there's like a top teams and there's mid teams, there's bad teams. I think it's more tiered out. I think instead of 3, we've got like about 4 sets of tiers here. And I think they're in that second to last tier. And I think there's a couple teams in that group that could literally fight for a playoff spot, but are kind of on that back end. So that's where I have them. Then up number 11, that team we were talking about, Odd Smurfs. They're up 1. I had them 12 preseason. Now I have them at 11. Same thing. They had a tough schedule. They don't have the worst team in the world. I don't think they have the best team. I think they're right around there. If you asked me to put money on it, I would bet that they would not make the playoffs at this point. But I think they have a better shot than some of the other teams that we've just mentioned prior, and that is why I have them at 11. Number 10.
I'll give you one comment on that team. Never count out Dolly. Continue with your power rankings.
I completely agree. And that's, I could see them possibly moving up. I definitely could. Gangs of New York is number 10, Nick the Greek. He's down 2. My initial power rankings that I've just lost, oh, there they are. My initial power rankings, I had him in 8th. I love their offense. I still do. I think missing Barrett for the first game every week is kind of setting them up for probably a slow start. It seems like it's a trend. They lose the first one, then they win or lose an OT in the second one, and then they have a really good third game. Well, I'm guessing that's because Barrett's coming home in game 2, completely unwarmed up from fucking work, jumping on, probably struggling for the first few periods, and then by game 2, he's like, okay, I'm ready to go, and then they roll. Seems to make sense. Seems to be things that have happened in the past with me and other players that were in that realm of getting on in the last second before a game, coming cold, and if they play multiple games, by the time you got to game 2, you finally got to see the real them. The first game was just kind of their warm-up, feeler outer. I think that that's a problem for them. That's why they dropped a bit, in my opinion. They're sitting in 10th place in the standings. They're 10th place in my power rankings. Seems to match up. I could see this team jumping right back into 8th. I think this is a possible playoff team still. I've not given up on that team. I just think currently with the way it's all set up, I have them in 10th. At number 9, and this is where it gets a little surprising, because this is a 4th place team. Quarantine Nut Jobs. I have Quarantine Nut Jobs, Shotguns team, up 5. They've gone up 5 in my power rankings. They're currently sitting in 4th place. I had told everyone preseason they were going to finish in 14th. Way to shove it up my ass. And I love it. I like it. It's great. I think that's awesome. Here's the thing. I still am not a complete 100% believer. I think they had a real weak schedule. Second weakest in my opinion. 14, 11, 9, and 8. Real weak. I think they got the benefit of the doubt with that schedule. They have 14 points in 12 games. Good, great, but with that schedule, you'd probably want a little bit more. I think you're going to see that team start fading a bit. I think right where I had them, right around 9. I really do. If I had to predict, I think they're going to finish. Now that I've seen them, I understand that team a bit more. I think that's right around the area they finish. 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. Could make the playoffs. I don't think they're the 4th place team. I just don't see it. Next up would be number 8, Godless Communism. Power Kills team, up 1. I had them at number 9 preseason. They have moved up to number 8. They've had a good start. They are currently sitting in 8th place overall in the standings. Not much really to say about Power Kills team, to be honest. They're one of those teams that you look at and you're like, okay, they're not shit, but where's like their true superstar, right? Like where's this team where like they just have all these guys that you're just like, wow, that's the guy that's going to take over the game. They got Rondon. He's great, but I think of him more as a two-way guy. He's more of like that Selke Award winner guy if he's playing forward. And if he's playing D, it's a great D-man. But is he like the guy that's going to take over a game and score a bunch of goals? Not really. Not in my opinion. Where's that guy? There's other teams on this list I'm going to name soon that's higher up the rank. They have that guy. That's what I have to say about Power Kills team. Good team. Solid team. But that's it. They're not great. They're good. My opinion, that's where they're at. Have them in 8th. I think that's probably about right. I think they're going to finish around 7th or 8th. Probably be one of the bottom playoff teams, but they'll make the playoffs. They'll probably put up a decent little fight in the first round. Might even win a game or two, but that'll probably be their season. Prove me wrong. I don't know. Number 7, Spinning and Winning. No Regretskis. Down 6 spots. This is my number 1 team. I don't know about you, Calcha. You didn't do a power rankings that I recall. Would you have put them number one prior to the start of the season, or would you add someone else?
They would not have been at the worst, probably top. They would have been top 2 for me. So whether I
Top
put them
two.
1 or 2, they would have been at the top.
Okay.
So
Okay, and that's about right. That's even the people I've talked to that haven't put him at number one. At the very worst, I heard them at the beginning of the year. I think was 3 or 4. I mean, no one had him like 5, 6. No one had him deep down. They were a top 3 or 4 team. Everyone's book. Everyone's book.
there's just a lot of
Maybe,
talent on the team. At some point, it's gonna work.
absolutely.
I
And
I
that's
watched it work firsthand.
and that's what I see. But I had to be fair because it didn't exactly work the way they wanted the first 2 series, and that's why I dropped them. If I really wanted to be a stickler, I could have kept them in the top 3 and said, look, I truly believe this team's going to turn it around. I'm not going to drop them that far because they had a couple bad series. Look at the last series. Look what they did. But I also know the ping situation, so I still think the jury is slightly still out. But even with the
Fair.
ping situation, it takes 2 teams. I've seen lots of good teams lose to bad teams because they were playing like shit. In order to blow a team out, bad ping or not, you had to be on your game. And from all accounts, it looks like they were on that game. They were the game that night. And if things continue to click for them, I think they're going to climb up my power rankings again. Maybe not to number 1 again, but they're going to get back up there. But for now, falling 6 spots to number 7. Number 6, I have 2 captains, 1 cup, SBDR, and Anderson. They're down 4. They're down 4 spots. That was my number 2 team. So I guess that's my 2 disappointments. If you want to call it that. They're the 2 biggest droppers of the week, or 2 weeks. Nothing's wrong. Nothing wrong with them. I think it was more of a product of they got 12 points out of some of the worst teams in the league, in my opinion. They played the Rain. They played Cutthroat. That's Bartlett and then Monster J. And they play Hollywood. Is that really something, like, no offense to any of those teams, is that really, like, wins to write home about? Like, you should go 3-0 against at least 2 of those teams. Like, the Hollywood team, I'll give you 2-1. That's fine. But the other 2 teams should be 3-0. They didn't. They went 2-1. It wasn't like they were blowing these teams out either. So that's why I fell them. I had them fall a bit. It was the strength of schedule really played into that a bit. And unlike some of the other ones where I think it's a bit of a product of just being early on in the year, that it probably just doing it for entertainment's sake at this point because it's so early, the strength of schedule. But realistically with theirs, I think theirs is about as dead on as it gets. I think the teams that they played are going to finish right around the standings that they are in now. And the fact that they could only win 2 out of 3 worries me a bit with that team. Just a little. I still have faith, like I said, in Anderson and Buff and SBDR. That's just a really good team all around. But we'll see. Number 5, the team I'm most impressed with. I almost put this team up. I have to say that I almost put them in number 4, but I didn't want to stretch it too much. I wanted to be... I like them being the underdogs. For whatever reason in my own head, maybe it's my own narrative here, but I like the idea that this is my underdog team. This is a team that I'm not on, that I'm cheering for. Crawdad Knight, Philadelphia Flyers, number 5. Up 2 spots. Had them at 7 preseason. They've gone up 5. I was conservative with that. I could have gone up higher. I think I would have put them above Corona, my own team. Even though we beat them 2 out of 3, I still might have put them ahead of us because they played our top line. And as the series went on, the series got tighter. The biggest blowout was the first game, and then it got tighter, and then we lost. They started to adapt. They weren't just sitting ducks. They didn't just give up. They fought. They figured this out. They played a lot better in Game 2. They played extremely good in Game 3, and they won. This team has had a fucking murderer's row. Murderer's row. They played Dom and Rev. I don't give a fuck if it's early or not. That's a good goddamn team. That's a top 4 team. Guaranteed. They played D-Mart's team with Wizzy in the lineup. Again, that's a fucking top team. That's a top team. There's no argument there. That is a top fucking team. And then they played us. And whether or not you think we're a top team when you have me and Seji in the lineup, it's a good fucking team. We're a very fucking good team when we have that lineup on the ice. With K-Dog, myself, Pale, Seji. It's a good zombie. It's a good team. And they played that. And they came out again in 5th place on the week. That says a lot to me. And their weak game of the week was Nick the Greek's team, who I don't think is that fucking weak. So I really, really like this team. This team almost went up higher. Do you have any thoughts on Croydon's team? Some hyping them up. Do you like that team? Have you played that team?
I have not played that team, but I absolutely like that team. Um, I'm a believer in even when you're playing tough teams early on, whether you're winning or you're losing, it does something for your team. It motivates you even if you're losing games. You're getting battle tested, and if you're going to get that early on in the season, they've dealt with some drama. Um, they've made a trade. They're moving past that situation. I don't see how that can't be anything but good for this team. Um, Anytime you have to deal with drama within a team, not even having to focus anything else outside of dealing with an opponent, just playing against yourselves, and you get rid of that or you fix that in whatever way that is, then that's a positive for your team. So them sitting at fifth, playing obviously good teams as you've already stated. I would rank them within my top four if I'm doing one. I'm not. These are yours though, so by all means, have at it.
And I nearly did. I nearly did. Like this, I had said on my original show, or the first BLK show, episode 1. If you haven't listened, go back and listen to it. It's on demand. Enjoy. Um, I should have put them at 4. I like them. I really do. But I had said the first show that Dom and Rev's team I loved. I loved Dom, and I still do. Still do. Still love that team. Still, in my opinion, still the dark horse to win the cup. Dom and Rev's team. I said it the first show. I'm gonna stick with it. Nothing's changing. I think they're built for the playoffs. Defense wins championships. They have a fucking great defense. Swizzy is spectacular. Jelly is spectacular. I don't even know who's in the center of them. I actually forgot who's playing. And Rocco, great player. So there you go. It's just a great fucking team there. But this is my
the only
new
guy
favorite
really
team.
not playing in like a position he's like probably like super comfortable with. When I played where Rocco's been right wing, I've seen him on defense. I mean, maybe he's not the prototypical like guy you want on the Dodds, but
If they, you know what? Hey,
he's
with,
got
with
plenty of
Swizzy,
fucking skill around him, along with having his own
exactly.
skill.
With Swizzy
can manage.
and Jelly around him, all he has to do is play third D. I'm not telling him to do. I'm not trying to tell you how to handle your business, there, Rocco. You handle your business. You're doing just well. You can tell me to go fuck myself. You got 17 points in 9 games. I can go eat a dick. I've got 17 and 12. You're doing better than me. But still, if you can be convinced to play third defenseman with those 2 forwards, if you can just facilitate that offense and play that safe, high slot game and make sure you're back, I don't see your team losing many games, bud. I love that team still, but I love Croydon's team too. That may be my new favorite. I won't turn my back completely on Swizzy and the bunch, but Croydon's team's starting to sneak into my heart. I really do. It's probably my second favorite or my 1B team now. Like, I really like that team. My number 4, maybe this is why I want number 4. Maybe it's just biased. Maybe I'm just a selfish prick that wants to talk about my team. Number 4, Pal Corona. Up 1. I put them at number 5 preseason. I'm number 4 now. Why? I don't know. Why would I? Especially after losing the Trickies team. Now, again, I wasn't in the game, but we lost as a team. That's still a lineup. We have to field some sort of lineup like that. Now, there was talk. I'm going to, don't know if, again, I did this with the first time show with Anderson, so I'll do it with mine in fairness. Might let the cat out of the bag. Hope I'm not spoiling any strategies. But I was asked or talked to by Pal tonight about possibly splitting me and Seji up to spread the talent around. That Seji will play with Frangu and I'll play with John. That way that there is more of a threat on the ice, so to speak, in each games. I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. Esports ends this week, no problem. So that may happen. So sorry again, Pal. I'm sorry if I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I do apologize if that was supposed to be like in-house business, but I thought, who cares? It doesn't matter. They're going to figure it out once they see the lineup load in anyway. But if that happens, I think that could be good. It could go either way. It could end up backfiring, or it could work out really well. I think then just the point now for our team would probably just get to the playoffs where we can load the line, and then we basically have to win 4 or at least 3 and pray the other line pulls 1 out. I think that would be like the idea. I don't know, but that's where I have us. What I do like about our team is this. When we played this week with me and Seji, we went 3-0 and we went 2-0-1. And the 2-0-1 series was against Croydon's team that we just, spoke about in length, that I love and have a lot of respect for. I think they're a great team. So 2-0-1 I thought was a great start for a team that didn't have a lot of practice. it was the first series together for us and
Practice.
everything. So I know, right? I think we won 5-2, and then we won 3-2 OT, and then we lost in OT 4-3. So a little worrisome that we didn't finish that series out as strong as we started, but we bounced right back and played Nick's team, and we won 3 straight. And we put up 7 goals in back-to-back games and 4 in the third game. I know Nick's team is not known about the defense. It's not exactly what they're known for. They're a high offensive team that you're going to see a lot of series and games like that where it's a 7-5 win or loss on his end. So I'm not completely shocked, but we won on 3. And we kept up with them, and we outscored them, and we shut them down a little bit. They still got their goals. They're going to do that. Great offense. But I liked what I saw with that, and I think that we could probably consistently against most lineups in this league, if we were to continue to run that 6, and again, we could switch it up and it could work. I don't know what the plans are completely, but overall, I think our team is set up nicely for the future. If we can eventually get to a point where we can just run the top 6, I think we can compete or beat any of the top 6 in the league. At this point, there's a couple top 6 lineups that I think could give us trouble or even beat us, but we won't get blown out. I know we can hold up our end. So that's probably what I have as a 4. The second line, though, at this point, losing the Trickies bunch, I ain't going to lie. That alone should have them in 5th and Croydon in 4th. That's my own team, just to be fair. That's goddamn crying shame. Moving on. Number 3. Money Puck. Cosmic and BTW up 3. For my preseason rankings. I can't believe I had him that low. I had them in 6th. Like, was I fucking insane? I must have been really, must have been
Bro,
high.
you
or
were probably
drunk.
hammered.
Number 6 on my power rankings. The beginning of the year, they're up to probably where they belong in the top 3. I won't say probably, definitely. I have them in number 3. I could argue that they should be number 1. Only reason why I say that they're not, they got a favorable matchup against D-Mart. They went 2-1 against them, but they didn't have to play Wizzy, and I do think that did matter. I do think that helps. They went 1-2 though against Odd Guy. I know that was with BTW and that Cosmic, but it's still work. Again, that's a line of their team. You can't discount that. That line has to play every week, so you can't go, oh, but the other line's great. Well, that's great and all, but if the other line has a weak link that you can't get over and you're going to lose games to even like a team that isn't like an upper echelon team, that's a fucking worry. That is a worry. So they did lose to them, and then they went 3-0 against Tricky. So that's why I have them at 3. I don't think they've had the strongest schedule. I think D-Mart was their best game, and I think they got the lighter side of D-Mart. I could see them potentially having some trouble with a few teams that have strong defenses that aren't going to just let their guys just LT to the board, from the boards to the goal, and do their fancy dekes and fucking between the leg shots and shit like that. Those teams, the Revs team, when they play G.I. Joe and Croydon, like, good luck LTing through that motherfucker. 6'7" ass, like, just smashing everything. Good luck. Even our team, with me and K-Dog, I mean, they have the talent to fucking walk me, absolutely. But I know I'm a good enough defenseman. They ain't going to do it every time down the ice. It ain't going to be at will. Like, they're not just going to do it at will on me. So I think there's some teams that could give their style a bit of trouble. But overall, so much talent on that goddamn team. I mean, Crispy's a stud. Cosmic's a stud. Like, just go down the fuck. Even the goalie they got's a pretty good stud. Like, Yanni's fucking good. Like a CHL goalie in the LG. But again, 131 and 18. I can't forget that stat line. I'm like, I might own an LG next year. So I'm looking at that stat line thinking like, holy fuck, who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's like, is this like a hidden gem or what? 131 and 18, like with CHL defense as well? Like, holy mother of God, this motherfucker must stand on his head. So they're my number 3, up 3 from 6. Number 2, Super Kick Party. D-Mart's team up 2. Up 2 from 4 to 2. I like D-Mart's team. I think D-Mart's team found something. I don't know if you want to talk about this. I don't know if you know anything about it. I know you've talked to D-Mart and I've been in a lot of parties with them lately. They switched up in one game and they put Cortez on defense and Wizzy up front. Have you talked to him anything about that? Is that their plan going forward? Do you know of?
No, I haven't talked to D-Mart about this, but according to Wizzy, he sounded like he might be their center moving forward when he's in. Might be a thing, and
Okay.
Cortez might just be permanently playing right D and just let it roll as it is.
No, that's good. I like Cortez. I think Cortez is a fine winger. I think he's good. I don't think he like sucks at all. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he would say he's elite, but he's a fucking serviceable wing. You can win with Cortez at the wing. But
Well,
Wizzy
Cortez
does
though will be
bring.
going to D though. Cortez will be moving
Yeah,
from
that's it.
center to D, and that's Cortez will tell you he sucks on D. Like that's his thing. Now, obviously, he's gonna tell you he sucks, even though he doesn't like actually suck. You know what I mean? But he's not. He's probably not as good as at defense as he is maybe as like as a wing. I would say. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd necessarily say Cortez is like the best center of all time either, but like
But
Cortez is gonna
my
be a
point,
serviceable guy in any position you put him in.
yeah,
But the offense is
my
gonna click, I think, a little bit more with Wizzy up there.
and that's my point. My point is I like Cortez up front. I don't think he sucks. I just think Wizzy offers a little bit more of a possibly two-way game and maybe a bit of more puck movement with D-Mart. Whereas I think Cortez may have a bit more flash at times. Wizzy will play a simpler, straight across the board. There'll be less peaks and valleys as always with Wizzy. Wizzy is one of the most consistent players in all of hockey, LG, esport, whatever. He's consistent. There'll be a few bad games, but they're so few and far between. Then there'll be some outstanding, like holy fuck games, but they're few and far between. He's always a steady, great player. He doesn't dip below great very much, and he doesn't go above great very much. It's just fucking great. It's where he sits. And I think he does that even at a forward role. And that's what I think that team would need. That's what D-Mart needs up front. Is someone he can work off of that's going to be consistently in areas and do consistent things and do them correctly at all times. That's what Wizzy gives them. When they made that switch, that team went nuts in that third game. When they played, I have to look at this, they played Odd Guy. The series they went 1-2. Cortez was at center for games 1 and 2. Things didn't go their way. 3-2 loss, 3-0 loss. Then they won 4-3. Comes right in. Boom, boom, boom. I like Wizzy at forward. I think that team's going to do very well going down the stretch. I like that roster. Nothing's changed. I had him 4 preseason. I have him 2 now. Really like where they're headed. Finally, closing up. Number 1. It had to be Dom and Rev. Up 1 spot, I do believe. 2 spots. I had him number 3. They're now up 2 spots to number 1. I love this team in the preseason, Couch. I went on a show by myself for an hour and 15 minutes, episode 1, and just touted this fucking team. Put my fucking neck on the line for this team. When people were telling me I was overhyping them, Anderson going, I think they're overhyping them. They're not going to be that good. Everyone was telling me I was crazy. Here it is, 2 weeks in the season. First place in the standings. 9 games played, 17 points. Killing everybody. Weak schedule, sure. They've had a weak schedule. I'm not going to lie there. But just top to bottom, this team, load it. Just fucking load it, in my opinion. Like again, Jelly is very good. He's great. Jelly's a superstar. Swizzy is a good player that's getting better every fucking game. As you said, he learned how to pass. He's so much improved just from 3 months ago. This kid keeps getting better and better. He's playing more and more and more. I explained about his baby. It's getting older now. You know, he's playing more and more. It's only a matter of time before he gets it all the way back. He's really been playing great. Love him. Rocco, great player. Again, if he can just play a role. And then their defense. I mean, you can't go wrong with that D, right? You got Rev and Sea-Doo. And then you got Dom and fucking Sea-Doo. Just a really stacked team. The goalie was a question mark. I didn't know much about their goalie. You said you talked to him. You said it was Hasek, correct? Hasek is been playing outstanding for them. You know, that was the one weak spot. That was the one question mark I had about that team coming out of bidding. I believe they had Profits of Rage at the time. And I said, that's your question mark. Like Profits and all, but that's Profits can at times have some really lousy games and let you down. I mean, there's lots of goalies that can, but I would say he is more consistent in having those games than, say, a B. Cripps, who is consistently solid and hardly has those games. He was the opposite of that. Now they have the Hasek guy, not really sure or know much about him, but it seems to be working out like a charm. They're running away with things. They haven't played anybody. I
Well, man,
still
with that
can't
team in
wait for
front
the
of them,
end
you
of the
don't have
year
to be an
now.
elite Kendi, right? You just got to be above average, and you're gonna look great. Like you
That
just you just don't suck, and you're gonna be good. Your numbers are gonna look good at the end of the season.
that's true. I mean, our team last year, when I was what surprised me, and it wasn't just me. That was just a loaded team. That was a loaded team. I mean, it really. You could have took me off the
Oh, yeah,
roster, and they
100%.
still would have been pretty much just as good. They might have been a little weaker, but there was just too many good people in place, and the league wasn't as deep. It was near. Even though we lost in the playoffs, it just almost wasn't a fair roster at some times against some teams. We had a bad goalie that year. Or I won't call him bad. I don't want to talk shit. We had a goalie we couldn't rely on much, but through the regular season, we didn't need to rely on him, and that could be the case here with them. Hopefully they can rely on him a bit, because if they can rely on a goalie in any kind of way, that team's going to be incredibly hard to beat. If they had like a B Crips or a Lime or a Superstar, I would really think that this team, I would say slam dunk going to win the cup. I don't care about the other rosters. I would say slam dunk they're going to win a cup, because I'm not 100% sure that roster. I'll give them number one in the power rankings. I'll still love that team. That'll still be my 1A to Croydon's run 1B. But I won't guarantee they're going to win the cup yet. I still like them. I still think they're going to be there at the end. I still see them possibly even in the cup. Could win the cup. The goalie will answer those questions sooner or later. Eventually, they will play a tough team, and that goalie will be tested, and we'll find out. But overall, great team. I think they're stacked, and that is how my power rankings have settled out now for week after week 2. So we've gone 2 power rankings now. It's been 2 weeks apart. Seen some games. There's been some changes. I don't know how much you would agree or disagree with my power rankings, Couch. Would you say would agree with 50%, 80%,
I
90%?
I
Where am I
agree
at
with a
with you?
lot of it. I couldn't, outside of maybe moving a spot or two from a team or two here or there. Most of it's spot on. Uh, Obviously, your team, I feel you might be a little biased on, and that's okay. Me personally, I'd rank y'all sixth. Um, that would just be my take. Um, until I see, I can't rank you higher than six when you lost to Turkey. I just can't. I just
I
can't.
feel you there.
I don't care. I don't care what lineup you rolled.
I wouldn't have moved us down from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, wherever we were. I don't even remember anymore. I just
I
put
mean,
my
it's not like
clippers
yeah,
away.
you put it your four.
I
I
wouldn't
put
have
y'all
moved
six. I
myself
mean, it's not like I
down
would have put y'all like
even here. Yeah.
dropped drastically or something. You know what I mean? The
It's,
playoff race is wide open. Literally every team not named Tricky has a chance to make the playoffs. Um,
I
that's
would
that's
argue
just the
Bartlett and
facts.
Monster J's team at this point have an uphill battle too. I
Oh,
would, and I
absolutely,
know it's your team,
absolutely
and
have an
I want
uphill
to be
battle.
fair to you, but with the ping issue and everything being everything, because you have to factor that in. I think those 3 teams, while they're not tricky level, I don't think they're much better than tricky level. I think that you're looking at those 3 are probably going to pull up the rear all season. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it anyway. But I'll let you finish your point. Sorry.
I mean, look, you just mentioned my team I was on, my team I got traded to as two of the bottom end teams, and at the moment, I can't argue to say anything besides until either of those two teams proves anything other than that. That's where you have to accurately put them. And now the cards are going to be all on the table. What can you do? You know what I mean? I know we're going to try something different. My team, I won't say what that is just quite yet, but we're gonna see if something works here. So once I get done with this, I'm gonna see. I think my team is trying to get a little bit of practice in. We need it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna give it our best. And you better believe I'm gonna come out there every fucking series, and I'm gonna give my team everything I got, whether we're playing on 3,000 ping or fucking 2. I don't really care.
Well,
But
with
other than
you
that,
and
you did a
Jay
great job.
being 2 of my favorite people in Xbox, I will have to say that I am cheering for you guys, and I hope that I'm completely wrong. But that's just of my 4 tiers, which I should have went over, but I didn't. That was just quickly. That was my bottom 3. My bottom tier was Cutthroat, The Rain, Modern Tricksters. Then I had a group of Oddsmers, Hollywood Blondes, Gangs of New York, Godless Communism, and Quarantine Nut Jobs in that next tier that'll be fighting over basically 12 through 7 ish. And then you had more of your mid tier, which kind of was a little bit jumbled. I had basically your top 3 I have is Dom, Cosmic, and no Regretsky still. Like in my own head, if I'm just being fair, that's where I see that. And then everything else jumbled. And I think Regretsky's team at this point is teetering on that 3, and I think D-Mart's team is the top of the next one. So those teams could actually flip-flop in there. But that's how I have them tiered out at this point. I could be wrong, but I think I'm kind of right in on that. I think that's where you're going to kind of see them all figure themselves out. They always say the market sets itself. I think the standings will set itself over time, obviously. But that's how I see that tiered out personally. Even with the power rating the way it is, even with I think spinning and winning, I have like a 6 or whatever it is, 7. I don't know. Like I still think they're at the top. I still think they're probably, in my opinion, a top 3 team. I think D-Mart's team is probably right there around 3 or 4 as well. I just have more faith in Cosmic and BTW this week than I did at the beginning of the year. I definitely have more faith in them and probably less faith in Regretsky's. And I'm a little bit more worried about Anderson and SBDR only because, again, their weak schedule and 2-1 records. And just things I've heard from the team. Just it doesn't seem like everything's going 100% the way they wanted it. It just seems like there's been a little bit of inner struggle where they maybe aren't steamrolling people the way they thought they would. So that's the only worry with them, why they're not also in that upper group. But just wanted to throw that out there as well before we went away from that and set our goodbyes here. So we're about an hour and a half in. An hour and a half in. I want to thank everybody. Oh, Kelch, go ahead. What you're saying?
I was going to say, Pale announced something while during the show. I don't know if you've been in the Discord or not, but I wanted to make sure that I talked to him that it's been announced and let you talk about it or whatnot. But the series of week 3 has been announced. It'll be on Monday night. It'll be Power Kill's team and Godless Communism or whatever their team name is versus what was it, Dom's team, I believe. Let me correct. Let me double check that. I believe it's Power Couple versus Godless Communism. Let me clarify. I think that's what I read. Yes, that is correct. The Power Couple versus Godless Communism. So it's Power Kill versus Dom and Kill. I don't know which team or which lineup they're using, but it'll be them on the call. It's going to be Farbsy and our boy none other than D-Mart Gaming, Daniel Martin on the call. So it should be a fun little one there. I'll be hyped to watch that one. That's in my opinion 2 good teams. So we should have a good battle. Guys like Power Kill, going off of what you're saying, like you're not really certain who's going to lift their team up. They get a chance to showcase it now. Jelly and Swizzy, they get a chance to continue to dominate and do it in front of everyone watching. So it should be fun. It should be a fun little series to watch.
Absolutely. I can't wait for D-Mart on the call, by the way. Having been in parties with him a lot, having been on his team, it's great. It's going to be very, very entertaining at the very least. I hope he comes in pure D-Mart form. I hope he doesn't hold anything back. We could have the first captain benching a player on another team that he's not even involved in. I can hear it now. It's not acceptable there, bud. It's just not acceptable. It's just got to come out the game there, Gilbsy or, we can't be having that there. Like, I could see it right now, and I can't wait. I hope it happens.
You have a horrible impersonation.
I might be in. I played Nets there, eh? That's unacceptable, man. I gotta let you go. He cut a guy in the middle of a second period. For those who don't know the story, a few seasons ago, we're on the team. First fucking game of the year. We're winning. It's a 1-goal game, I believe. We're up like 2-1. It's a tight one. We're grinding. They score a goal, and it's a shit goal. It's like our goalie blows goal. So it's 2-2, and it's like in the third period. And they get a come down. The guy comes down with the puck. It's 2-on-1 for us. We have 2 defensemen back, and he's just alone coming up the ice, and we're about to clamp him. He gets to our blue line, just fires the puck. It fucking goes in. An empty net. We're like, what the fuck? Our goalie, who will remain nameless, Phoenix Rising, is in the corner, just standing in the corner.
This gets called out 2/10 of a second later.
Standing in the corner. He's standing in the corner, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, we're fucking dumbfounded. We're like, what the fuck is this? He's like, I'm sorry. I must have put my controller down. It moved me to the left. Now, this is fucking horse shit. Because I don't play goalie a lot, but I play goalie. you got to fucking hold the A button down to move to the corner. So he didn't just set the button. He fucking held the A. He's running in a goddamn corner for whatever fucking reason. So he's in the corner. They come down. They score. It's 3-2 with like fucking 2 minutes left. We're fucking over. And D-Mart hits the mic. Captain D-Mart. First experience with D-Mart. What the fuck's that, man? What the fuck's that, bud? Like, you're supposed to play nets, not stand in the corner and sign autographs. That's unacceptable there. I'm gonna have to put mags in. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to wave you there. You're not gonna be playing anymore there, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, yo, it's a second period or it's the fucking first game. Like, chill. Like, we still got time left. Like, don't fucking make this guy quit on us. Like, he's just gonna quit out the game. Like, you just cut him in the middle of the fucking game. Like, he's still playing goalie. This could get out of hand. No fucks given. You're cut. You're out. And sure enough, game ended. And he's like, I'm sorry, but yeah, can you just leave the party? You're going to back out. I'm going to make some change. And he fucking did. He certainly did. He was a man of his word. Never saw that son of a bitch play another game for us again. And Mags, who had played lefty, then moved to goalie. And then he got cut from goalie and moved back to lefty. So he remains the only person I've known that played bad at one position to get switched to another position and then played that position so badly he earned his other position back. So that's a story time with me for D-Mart's team. What a fucking train wreck. Great time. D-Mart, one of my favorite people, though. Awesome captain. Was not his fault. Definitely was not his fault. If any of those games remain on film, fucking burn them. But before you do, go and watch it for your own fucking delight and cheer along and laugh at our expense because that was fucking brutal. But with that story out of the way and the season underway,
I have D-Mart stories. I can't even do them after that. Like that's just priceless. I love
maybe
Dan.
next time.
I really do.
Maybe next time we'll have just a show of D-Mart stories. That would probably be the highest rated show in 239 history. But for now, we are now
just bring in random people.
91 minutes in. I know. 91 minutes in, Couch. I want to thank you so much, by the way, for coming on the show. I appreciate it so much. I do. Thank you so much. In the future, by the way, everyone listening, I do eventually, as I said in chat, I want to get owners on here. I don't mind players either. I have no problem sharing the spotlight, bringing you on. If you don't mind sitting and listening to me to ramble, as Couch will tell you here, I didn't seem like I let him talk much at all. I'm sorry. So that might happen to you as well. But at the end of the day, glad to have anyone on that wants to come on. Owners, I really want to get you on. I would love to come on, not even for the whole show. Just come in the party for 10 minutes. Just let me ask you a few questions about your team, what you think about your team, maybe even a little bit of looking ahead of what you think you're going to do. If you want to spill any beans, just let some of the things out. Whatever you want, feel free. I don't care. It just would be great to hear things from the owners themselves instead of me randomly saying, oh, I like this team or this team might do this or that. I'd love to have an owner on to be able to just say, what do you think about your team? Why did you draft this guy? Why did you fucking trade for this? And really just get to the bottom of it. Because sometimes guys see trades and they go trape, and they don't know the back end of the story that maybe a guy has played together for fucking 3 years and he might not be the same skill level, but they played together 3 years and have great chemistry and it might work. Who knows? That's why I want these guys. So if you are an owner, please PM me days, times, whenever you're available. I'll go out of my way to make my schedule work for you so we can do this, even if it's just a 15-minute show where there is no talk about standings or games or any of that, just me and you questioning. We'll have a owner interview segment, whatever. I would really love to do that. So there's that. So for Young Couch, again, thank you for joining. I am BLK, your host. This has been episode 2. I've made it to 2. I only got 98 more for syndication. Holy shit, it's going to take forever. Probably doing this bi-weekly. Maybe there'll be another one. Maybe they won't. I'm going to leave it with that as always. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. I really do. For everyone at 239, we look forward to next week. Best of luck to all teams. Couch, any final words?
I love you. 229, I love you. That's it. Nothing else.
That's it. Coronavirus, thank you as always. Sponsored by. God bless you. And good night.